Thank you, thank you.
Lovely to
love
meet
the
you,
outfit.
sir.
Looks
Thank
very
you. I
nice.
love your outfit too.
Thank you.
What a
Street
pleasure!
clothes.
What a pleasure to meet you today. I'm very excited. I've been a massive fan for years.
Ah, thank you.
My favourite track is "You Look Good in Rags." If you want to know.
Really? Wow.
But
We
it
were
is
just talking about those
It's
albums.
my favourite track, isn't
Yeah.
it? And anyway, I won't go on. I talk too much. Thank you for meeting us today. Now, the reason you're here today is for this fabulous press conference we've been at this morning with you and the lovely gentleman from Motley Crue.
Yes.
Can you tell us what the exciting news is, please, for the UK fans?
Well, I mean, the thing is, we're coming back here. You know, we've already done 85 shows with them in the States. I mean, that's a lot of shows. And all last summer. It was great. Every show was like a sellout. It was terrific. And the two bands together are both bands that bring it every night. I mean, our band goes up there to kill the audience. Motley Crue comes on with the same attitude. And I think that that's becoming a lost art.
I agree.
And I think that, you know, rock bands have gotten very kind of anemic, you know. So when you get two bands that only understand how to do it one way, and that's to destroy the audience, it's a pretty good show, you know, and we're bringing that to England, you know.
Do you think social media and technology have made a difference in how music is seen and heard now?
I think it's now, there's a glut of music, what I call a glut of music. Anybody can make an album in their garage now. And there's so many outlets, you know, that technology has sort of provided. I think that there's a lot of good ideas, but a real touring band is almost like becoming a professional soccer player or a professional baseball player. You have to go through all these basics to get to the point where you can go to the big level, to the big leagues. I think a lot of these bands go from here to here.
Yeah.
Without all this.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why they don't last long.
No, it has to be a learning curve, doesn't it?
There is. Everyone, like
Definitely.
they started in bars. We started in bars. The Beatles started in bars. The Stones started in bars, and you worked your way up. We were together 6 years before we ever saw a recording studio.
Yeah.
But by then we were a good live band.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I think that there's no shortcut in becoming a good live band. There's a couple exceptions. A band, the Stripes.
Oh yeah.
From Ireland.
Yeah.
There's 18-year-old kids that sound like they've been in bars for all their life because they play like I always say they remind me of the Yardbirds and the Small Faces combined.
Yeah.
And authentic.
Yeah.
Very authentic. So, you know, that may be an exception, but most bands don't have that kind of talent, you know.
All the love of music. It seems that the love of you guys, you and Motley Crue, obviously, whenever I see you play, I've seen you 2 or 3 times now, the energy that comes off you all is something quite unusual.
Well, if you're not having fun on stage, the audience isn't going to have fun. I think that I always hire guys in my band that are best friends. Everybody in our band are best friends. And everybody in our band really see, most guys don't get in bands where it's theatrical.
No.
On top of it. Yeah. So when you get in my band, you suddenly have to now not just be a musician, but you have to be a bit of an actor too. Yeah. And everybody loves that experience. Now you can't wait to get on stage. Because the high point of the night is getting on stage in front of the audience. And we try to keep it like that. I try to keep it so that the band is having as much fun as the audience is.
And do you still have, is it Nita?
Nita Strauss.
It's nice to see a girl rocking out.
Hurricane Nita Strauss, and before her we had Orianthi.
Yes.
And Orianthi, I mean, one of the great guitar players. You know, I'd put her up against anybody as a blues guitar player. Nita brought something different. She came in with all this sort of shredder. She was a bit of a shredder.
Yeah.
You know, and being on tour with Motley, I said, our audience is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit more of a metal audience. Let's get Nita in the band. I used to be the creepiest thing on stage. Now she is. You know, she is really, truly creepy up there. Beautiful, but creepy.
Is it true you met her when she was dressed as a tooth?
She started the show when she was 18. She played probably 6, 7 different parts in the show. She was a giant spider. She was a tooth. She was the ballerina in Only Women Bleed.
Yeah.
She was Cold Ethel. She was, you know, all these different parts. So getting her back on the show is great. You know. When I'm in Europe, I play once a week, maybe.
Did you write, because you wrote a book, didn't you?
Wrote a book about it, but it was basically an excuse to write a book about how Alice Cooper got to the point where he played golf. And it was basically, I had to change these addictive habits for another addictive habit that wasn't going to kill me. I knew I was going to be an addictive personality, so I had to find something that was going to
be beneficial.
That was going to be beneficial to that, you know. And you know, I mean, but to me, the two never meet. Alice, the character, hates golf. I mean, you know, when I'm on stage, that's the last thing I'm thinking.
So I shouldn't even be asking you about golf.
Well, no, I'm just saying, when Alice is on, no, it is an interesting idea that I get up in the morning and when I play golf, I never think about Alice Cooper. So when I'm on stage, Alice never thinks about golf. Yeah. Historically, I think the very first time we played Wembley was one of the, because you have to remember, we were 16 years old, 15, 16, 17 years old when we first heard the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the Yardbirds and the Kinks and all of the British Invasion, and that's why we started being in a band. And when you're in a high school band in a garage in Arizona, the last thing you think you're ever going to do is play Wembley as a band, as a headliner, or meet the Beatles, or meet the Stones, or anybody, and we got to do all that. You know, we pictured this place as being a magical place, and it still is. You know, when we come in, we still really love London, you know, and all over England, really. You were asking about other projects, though. We just finished an album, the Hollywood Vampires album.
Okay.
And what it really was, when I was doing Dark Shadows with Johnny Depp, we played the 100 Club. And we got up and, you know, and I said, come on and play with us, because I knew he's a pretty good guitar player. And half of the show was covers. People would yell out, Brown Sugar, okay, and we'd play it. Because, you know, they only usually hear us playing our own stuff, so that was a night where they got to see us become a bar band. And we really liked it. We liked the idea of what it was. Then we started talking about all of our dead drunk friends.
Yeah.
And Jim Morrison and Jimi Hendrix, all the guys we drank with that are not here anymore. And the idea came around, why don't we do an album to tribute to them? Let's put a band together. Joe Perry joined.
Excellent.
You know, Johnny Depp, you know, and all of a sudden we had a band, you know. And Bob Ezrin produced it, and I mean, it really, you know, we get to do a Jimi Hendrix song, a John Lennon song, a T-Rex song, Small Faces, you know, The Who, it just, you know, I mean, there's 15 songs, and every one of them was songs that we learned when we were in bars.
Oh, brilliant.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's
really
great.
Going back to your roots.
And the album rocks like crazy, because these songs are songs that we really hold dear to ourselves, you know. So when you hear these songs, you go, huh, wow.
And is it out now?
It's not out yet until just September, I think.
September.
I think that's what they're talking about, but you never know when they're going to put it together.
Oh, well, look.
But I'm very happy with the album, though.
Brilliant. Oh, I'll be getting that. It sounds excellent. My kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's all those songs where you look, well, I want to hear Alice's version of Harry Nilsson, which should be interesting, you know.
Not everybody's talking.
No, it takes a couple of his songs and totally turns them into something else.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So my next question in the past.
Yeah.
If you had a dinner party and you could invite 4 people, dead or alive, who would you choose?
Alive people.
Dead
good.
Or alive?
Yeah. No, well, alive. Let's go with alive first. The dead ones are easy. No, that's easy to do. Alive people. Well, there's people that you probably wouldn't, that I've always wanted to sit down and talk to, that I never got a chance to talk to. I met Dylan once, and we talked about boxing.
That's random.
So I think probably Bob Dylan, because boxing is my favorite sport. So
is it?
I would sit and talk to him about boxing. Boy, there's so many guys out there that, you know, Jerry Lewis.
Oh, I used to love Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, Jerry Lewis, because Jerry Lewis was a bunch of different things, as silly as he was. And I love adult people that are silly at the same time. John Cleese is this very proper-looking guy that is so silly when he's silly that you love that. Yeah. John Cleese probably would be one of the guys, you know. probably at some, you know, I actually had dinner one night with Johnny Depp and Sondheim. Sondheim would be a guy, West Side Story. Come on, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, he'd be one of the guys.
Yeah.
You know.
No women.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
No
My wife wouldn't allow that, but, yeah.
So,
if I could just pick 4 women, that would be a whole different thing, you know.
Ursula Andress, Raquel.
Yeah, well, it's just generally the rock and roll girls. I know for all of those girls. Are, you know, Chrissie Hynde's a great rocker. She's one of those
fabulous.
people. Susie Quattro, Joan Jett, you know.
And Lita Ford.
They're really good. They're real good girls, and
Yeah.
they really do get it. They get rock.
Good girls, yeah.
Annie Lennox is great.
I was saying earlier that I was influenced to drum watching Tommy Lee, and I ended up being in a thrash metal, all-female Elvis cover band in Amsterdam.
Oh, cool.
And that was good fun.
Oh, that must be fun. A lot of good songs to go to there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
well, that's why you Nita Strauss. That's why you picked Nita Strauss. Yeah. Nita's great. She's great.
So what's been your favourite part of touring with the Crue?
Well, you know, the funny thing is everybody gets along so well. You know, I've been on tours where you avoid certain people. Crews don't get along with each other. Management doesn't get along. With this group, everybody gets along with everybody. There hasn't been one hitch where there's been a conflict. And I think it's because the crew have already done everything you could do. We've already done everything you can do. We know all the shortcuts. We know where you can't make a shortcut, and all of us have the same idea that the show has got to be a great show. So we all work together really well. There has never been one argument on this, over 100 shows with these guys so far.
Well, you've been friends for a long time now, haven't you?
Well,
so
we all respect each other. I mean, you know, look, you know, I respect anybody that does what they do and keep doing it and keep doing it well. And don't back off. You know, the crew never backed off of what they believed in or who they were. You know, so I have to respect that. You know.
Do you think they looked on you a little bit as a mentor?
Well, I think so. I think Alice had a
lot.
I could see when I first came out, Alice certainly. I had something to do with the look, and hopefully I always tell people that I don't think Alice was as much the look as it was the attitude. When you go on stage, you never go on stage with the attitude of, gosh, I hope you like us tonight.
Yeah.
The attitude is to grab the audience by the throat and shake them for an hour and a half and then let them go. It's almost a dominatrix and a trick. I said, you know, whereas you're the dominatrix and the band, the audience out there is the one being dominated. And at the end, you know, they enjoyed it. They enjoyed the fact of being dominated, rather than seeing somebody that just goes, begging for acceptance.
Yeah, no.
We demand acceptance.
Yeah, well, it's escapism, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know,
and I think if Alice was any other way, or Motley was any other way, they wouldn't really. If Alice talked to the audience and said, "Here's a song we wrote in 1960," that's not Alice Cooper. Alice never talks to the audience because that would make him human.
Yeah, I mean, I think the worst thing I ever saw, and I won't mention names, I went to a rock concert and the guy spoke about Iraq for 10 minutes. Now the thing is, okay, it's bad, and you know, I'm not a bad person,
It's
but
not what you're going to the concert for.
Because I want to hear about sex, drugs and rock and roll and have a good laugh.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it.
So it's that, and that's why it's got to be sense of humour, fun,
and a total escape.
Yeah.
Why do you go to movies?
Escape.
I go to a movie to escape.
Yeah.
I don't go to a movie to learn anything. If I think I'm going to learn anything, I don't go to that movie. I want to see the shark eat the helicopter. You know, to me, that's my $8 right there. Thank you. I don't want to learn anything from that movie.
Oh. Well, I think we've run out of time. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
It's been a real
privilege
and a pleasure.
Oh, great.
And I can't wait to see you soon.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say "You Look Good in Rags" was their favorite song, so that's interesting.
It's my song.
That's it. Good.
Thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you.